to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thanks for coming on the show today.
Of course.
So tell our viewers who you are and what you do.
So my name's Jordan Maddox. My day job is I'm a school librarian. I actually work at a library in Madera South, and then I have another life where I kind of work in local media in Fresno, and I've been doing that for 6 or 7 years at this point.
Wow, so it's different, but it like merges together, kind of.
Yeah, well, so I moved here from kind of the Los Angeles area about 8 years ago.
Me too.
Oh, really?
Same time.
What part were you living
The last place I lived in was Glendale.
Okay.
I lived around LA, like for Studio City for a long time before that. So
Okay.
what about you?
So originally where I met my partner was in Pasadena, but then I kind of moved around the SGV.
You were close too.
Yeah, kind of in that same area, that 134 to the 210.
Yes.
And so the last place I lived was actually Laverne. My wife was working at Azusa Pacific, and I was working at a school in Claremont.
Oh, right on. And I graduated from Fresno Pacific. So can't even say more.
Yeah, lots of intersections. So we had some family stuff come up, and so we had to move up here. And when I was kind of initially apprehensive about moving to the Central Valley. Obviously very different.
Whose family was here? Yours or hers?
Hers. And
okay.
So from my point of view, I was like, this is a short-term stay. But then when we moved, it became clear that we needed to stay for the long term. And so I immediately thought, how can I invest in the community? How can I get involved? And so I started doing that through podcasts and then through getting on local nonprofit boards and finding ways to help with any of the skills that I had.
What did you do in LA?
I was also a teacher. So I was a teacher down there and taught up here for a while, and now I'm a librarian.
How do you go from teacher to librarian? How does that work?
Well, it's within a school, so it's kind of a lateral move in some ways. So I've always been interested in libraries, and I taught English and history, and so it kind of made sense as a kind of a transfer move out of the classroom and into the library.
So you moved in 2018,
2018, 17. Yeah.
So I moved here in 2017. That's really funny that we moved. But I was from here, so it wasn't as different. That must have been very... Had you been to Fresno before to see her family and stuff?
Yeah, I've got family in Bakersfield, so I kind of had a sense of like the environment. But I fell in love with Fresno actually pretty quickly. I thought it would take either longer or I wouldn't, and that I'd eventually want to go back down to Southern California. But it was actually pretty fast, and now we're homeowners in the area and we want to stay for the long term. And I've really loved investing, but also getting to know the community as well. And it's been a great, Fresno is a great place to build things, and that's what I love about it.
And what does your wife do?
She's a clinical psychologist in the prison system.
Wow, so you guys do a lot in the community and very...
We
different,
try.
but the same. But it's like, wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah, so we actually met in seminary. We were both kind of taking a religious route and have gone different directions.
Did you go to Azusa? You didn't go to Azusa?
We met actually at Fuller Seminary, which is in Pasadena.
Okay.
That's where we met. And so initially I thought it would want something to do with religion, but then kind of backpedaled away from that for, different reasons. I like to have a good time, and then there's some things that just didn't work, and so then teaching kind of was a natural fit from that. But we've always kind of involved or wanted to be involved in positive things that enrich the community around us, and that's kind of what our values are. And so we've tried to invest in that both in our work and then outside of our work.
That is really cool. I love that. So then how did all this media stuff come about? Like, how did you get involved in media?
So I did some journalism work in my undergrad. I took journalism classes, and I was always interested. I wrote for the student newspaper at my undergrad, and I wasn't sure exactly how I wanted to jump into this. But I knew I wanted to kind of do it as either a hobby or something on the side. And I was in college in the mid-2000s, kind of right when the blogging boom was. And so I was, in my dorm room or apartment in San Francisco reading blogs. I should have been doing my homework. So I've always been really interested in the journalism space, but didn't want to do the traditional journalism route. And so I kind of dabbled. I wrote for some different journals and different things. And then at some point, when I was teaching up here, I decided to start a podcast in my classroom for my students. And at that point I was teaching in middle school, and so we called it Welcome to Middle School. And so I had my 12 and 13-year-olds kind of give me the skinny on, what goes down when there's a fight at school.
They must have loved that.
Yeah, like what's it like to talk to your boo in the hallway, just like normal stuff that kids want to talk about. And then we made a bunch of episodes, and then that actually led me to take them to KVPR, which is our NPR affiliate, and do a show with them, so the kids could experience what is a real
That's really cool.
What's a real studio look like? What does it look like to do an interview on air? And so they loved it. And the news director at the time, Alice Daniel, she kind of, she probed me about it seems like you're pretty good at this kind of stuff. Do you have any interest in doing these things? And, I was like, I'm not ready to give up my career in public education, but I do want to do this in some capacity. So in 2019, right before everybody shut down, I started a show called Fresno's Best with two friends that live about a mile from here next to Community Hospital. And we basically did long-form interviews with cool people in town, kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it started with Aaron Foster, who was this amazing guy that we met that essentially was a violence stopper. I don't know if he's still active. I haven't talked to him in years, but he would hear about violence going on in Southwest Fresno and try to interrupt it before whatever violent event was about to transpire. And so that was our first interview. So
was he what was he? He's just a vigilante?
Well, he just knew enough of the community that he knew which families were
to talk to
try to prevent violence from escalating.
Got it.
Try and stop that cycle. And so we started with him, and eventually my two co-hosts, for life reasons, had to step away. And then I took it on, and I've done about 200 episodes since. And so I've kind of used that as a platform to learn about the community, also to meet and network, and also to really get a sense of where Fresno's going based on what the leaders are trying to do in the community. So that's how it started, and it's evolved.
So, and this show's called
Fresno's Best.
Fresno's Best, and then you have more to do with it, with other things that are happening with that network. Where is this viewed at?
So it's an audio podcast. So you get it through Apple, Google, Spotify. Google Podcast doesn't exist anymore. So Apple and Spotify, and so it's audio only, but long form conversations.
And then through that, you have other podcasts, or just that's your main podcast?
So I have a few others.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought.
This is some of these hobbies. They kind of they build on themselves.
They do. That's how it works.
So my background is in history. That's what I taught, and so I started a show actually before the Fresno show in 2018. So almost 7 years ago now, called the History of California podcast. And through that, I tell the story of the history of California, and then I interview historians about their research and their books. And so that show has evolved over time to where it's 3 or 4 times a month, long-form interviews with academics, historians, and experts about history of California.
Wow.
And then the third one that I'll talk about is
that you'll talk about.
There's 4, but the fourth one's kind of in process.
Okay, that's fine.
But the third one is with Fresno Land, which is a nonprofit newsroom.
Yeah.
And so it's that show's called Fresnolandia, and it's basically.
Oh, I've heard that. Okay, that one.
Okay, it's a once a week roundup of what's going on in politics and the news in Fresno, and we do conversations with local politicians about various things. And so that show's been going on for about a year.
And that is good. I have heard that one because some of my candidates I was helping last year were on that. So that was great. So that's really cool. And then because you've been here for a while, you just everyone kind of comes to you, or you'll be like, hey, meet this person, and that's how it kind of networks.
Yeah, I mean, those network effects, they can accelerate to where you can make a big city into a small town pretty quickly by meeting one person, one node in the network, and then that connects to other nodes, and before you know it, you're just a few phone calls from a few people. But for me, what's been most cool about it is giving me opportunities to help in the community. So a few different ways I do that is I'm on the board of the Fresno Philharmonic, which is one of our great institutions. It's a classical music symphony organization that exists in town, has existed for coming on 75 years. And so I joined the board to help promote classical music in the community. I'm also on the board of community advisory board of Valley PBS, so I can help them think about ways to connect with the community, create content that fits where they exist.
How do you get on all these boards?
That's a good question. Actually, someone was asking me this recently, saying something about boards, and I said I don't really know, because each one is unique, and I think sometimes you just have to ask.
Right? Yeah,
I think people like think it's like there's some kind of like password or like some kind of test you have to prove. But so people with status in the community will be asked to join those boards. So those boards are associated with their status. But then some people join boards because they really believe in the organization. They put in work with them, and
right.
They're recognized as leaders. And so I think there's a few different pathways to them, but honestly, just ask. If you love an organization and you think it's valuable in your community, I think you should just pursue being involved by just saying, I want to join the board.
Right.
Yeah, so you should join a board.
Oh, boy. Let's add it to the big list.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So, board of PBS, board of the Philharmonics. Well, what's the Philharmonic thing all about? Do you do music?
Well, I took piano lessons as a kid, but I'm not really a musician. It was more... I love classical music, and so it's a symphony. It's honestly, it's the gem. In my mind, it's one of the gems of Fresno, because we bring in world-class talent to perform some of the most technical classical music ever written right here in Fresno. And it's something that we want to sustain and we want to thrive in the community. Not only because classical music is beautiful, we want to give people aesthetic experiences of enjoying it, but also this is part of a trademark of a big city, right? A city that has culture, a city that has a thriving artistic community is having a symphony or a classical music organization. And so I want to be part of sustaining that, not only for the organization itself, but for the broader city of Fresno.
That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
So 3 boards? You belong to 3 boards?
Two.
Oh, two boards. Okay.
So PBS and the Philharmonic, but
and then you have 4 shows. You're developing another podcast.
So
we'll stay tuned for it.
I'll go ahead and share it. So the last show that I started with a friend, Dustin Maddox, who's a pastor at oh gosh, I'm going to get in trouble. First Fresno for oh gosh, so I should know what the name of his church is. And Fresno. Yikes, I'm embarrassed. So the show, anyway, back to the point. The show is called The Return. I stepped away from a religion a long time ago, and I've had a number of conversations with people who left religion because either they were burnt by it, they lost belief in God, or something like that. And some of the reasons that I hear, while legitimate in their minds, I think could be unpacked a little bit more. And sometimes people get false impressions of religion and like what its purpose and function is.
Right.
And so the show is really designed for like people that are outside of a religious context that are maybe thinking about like trying or going back to that, to like help them think about what that process could look like. And so we
really interesting.
We go through like topics like, a big topic is, does evil exist? What does that say about God? Or you have things like sexuality. Churches and homosexuality have been at odds for a long time. And so there's a lot of reasons why people leave religion. And I think some of those reasons are legitimate, and some of those reasons maybe are based on faulty assumptions. And so we try to unpack those to help people like make a good decision about their faith, because it's a big part of people's lives. And so I think they should make those reasons, either choosing to stay or leave, for reasons that are, I don't want to say legitimate, but for reasons that that they want to stand by.
Well, and I notice a lot of parents have the whole thing about what do you raise your kids when people from 2 different religious backgrounds, and they want to know what church they should bring their kids up. So I bet that's a topic you guys will probably unlock too at some point.
Yeah. I mean, there's, a lot of people come back to churches just for the kind of the Sunday school for their kids,
right,
or, kind of quasi childcare. And I think that's fine. I don't think that we should.
But sometimes they just don't know if you have a Catholic and a Jew and they get married and they're not really. Well, I'm saying if they come to different ones. So if they're from 2 different ones, because I know a lot of people, and they're like, what are we going to raise our kids? Because obviously they're not super connected to either one. That's why they're together, probably. And so they try. I've heard that becoming like a thing often. A lot of people have that struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I think almost every relationship, you're going to have different points. No relationship do you have truly aligned views on everything.
Right.
And like a religion's like a big one. So how do you mitigate that difference?
Right.
And I think it's complicated, but I think at the end of the day, like you're not. It's not a direct transfer to your child. Your child has to make choices over time. And I think it's the best thing that you can do. And I'm not a parent, so I'm not going to tell them how to parent their children. But I think the best thing to do is to give your kid a lot of information, give them some guidance, give them experiences of these different faith communities, and allow them to kind of form their own opinions about where they want to go. That's what I would say.
We just said that you guys don't have to watch the podcast.
Yeah, there's a lot more, but that's the tip of the iceberg.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, I think these are such great. You have the greatest shows. I love that. I love the content of all of them. They're all very interesting to me.
And I think you would agree with this. I think you should really only do something if you find it has value for yourself. And so I only make stuff that I have searched to try to find. So like, when I was making the history show, like I was searching in the podcast search box, like something related to California history, and I couldn't find anything. And I was like, well, if it doesn't exist, maybe I should just make it, because this is something that I want. And
I think everybody wants. So that's so weird that wasn't a thing.
Yeah, well, I think sometimes, it can be unclear if something has legs, and whether you're going to, while people might want it, like, how much support will you get in producing something that takes a lot of work? Because making a history show is really complicated.
Oh, yeah.
And so, full transparency, I don't make a lot of money from these things that I do.
Right.
The value is in...
I know that.
Okay. The value is in the intellectual engagement. The value is in the education. The value is in connecting people within their community. One example of kind of value beyond pecuniary value would be like I had two incredible businesswomen on Fresno's Best who listened to each other's episodes and then connected and do work together now. And we're posting about it on Instagram, and I saw that, and it just like that is all the satisfaction that I need in seeing that something that I'm producing is helping create economic vitality, new relationships, new connections. Because there is a lot of people in Fresno that just kind of hide out in their very well air-conditioned houses, and I do want us to get out and mix with each other, because that's how we're going to build community. That's how we're going to make Fresno a more inclusive place, is by making those connections. And so, I think that's a value for me. And
we can watch all of these podcasts on the same platform.
Yeah, they're all on Apple and Spotify. You can go through. There's a lot of them, but you can go through as many as you like.
What's one of the most? And I know this is going to be a hard question, because there's probably a lot. What do you want to talk about? That's one of the most significant things you learned about California history that you kind of had no idea about, and you're just like, wow.
I think I read a lot of California history, and so I have a pretty good knowledge of things. But occasionally, you have interviews that startle you.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a darker subject, but there's a professor at UCLA, his name's Dr. Benjamin Madley, and he wrote a book about the Native American genocide that happened in the 1850s to 1870s in California. And so his book is called An American Genocide, which is one of the most startling reads that you'll ever encounter, especially as a Californian living on this land. And so the conversation I had with him was tough and challenging. It was eye-opening, and I think it's a conversation that I'll never forget, and just really opening my eyes to the extent of the violence that was at the beginning of our state in terms of, it evolving into what California is today.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's up there for sure.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
And then you have fun conversations like I did a podcast conversation a long time ago with Rabbi Rick in town, who's a rabbi at one of our local synagogues, and we had a long discussion about what is a good bagel, So you can have a range from great conversations about the history of genocide to arguing about pastries. He wouldn't call it a pastry, so I don't want to say that.
No, I totally understand. The context goes all the way across the board. Yeah. Okay, so your social media, are you really active on it? I'm telling people what to do.
I hate social media. I'm trying. Honestly,
you're the blogger. How do you hate social media?
So there's. Let me rephrase. There are some the kinds that allow me to doom scroll are the ones that I hate. but I have to use them. And so it's almost kind of like I've got my hand tied, like I'm being forced to. And I'm like anybody, like I'll open up one of those apps and then I'll start clicking those reels, and then it's like 45 minutes later, I'm like, what happened? I just blacked out. I know you never do that. So, social media is one of those things where it's like, it's a necessary tool, but you can so easily get wrapped up into it and it can be unhealthy. And so I try to use it strategically or like keep it off my phone. I even considered buying one of have you seen these? These blocks you attach to your wall, and you have to go like tap the block with your phone to unlock your social media. It's like nowhere else can you access it unless you tap on it.
Wow.
And I considered getting one of them for a while because I would go on there to post something for one of the podcasts, and then once I had it open, it was just like it was I could not stop myself. So.
But you are active on it. Just tell us what's coming up, because I'd be really interested in what's coming up for everything. I don't know if you have a social handle for every each show.
So the main social handle that I use is Fresno's Best podcast, and so you can look that up on Instagram. I'm only on Instagram, which maybe I'm a total social media novice and I need your help. And
you're not on Facebook?
I'm not on Facebook. Maybe that's I don't know, something millennial in me is resists Facebook. And so I use that. You can also follow Fresno Land's Instagram handle. I believe they also have a Facebook account, but I wouldn't know because I'm not on it. Those are the main places.
You're not on it. Aren't you the creator?
Of what?
Fresno Land, pretty much.
Oh, no. Daniel,
It's Fresnolandia.
Fresnolandia is the show.
You're the creator of Fresnolandia.
So I
get it. I get it.
For the record, I co-created Fresnolandia with Daniel Bergstrom, who's the CEO of Fresnoland. And so you can follow Fresnoland's main account.
Got it.
And then you can see occasional posts and updates about our podcast.
Well, no, because I think that's very fascinating. We can see what's going on and what's where. So that's awesome.
I would say, the Fresnolandia show, if you're interested in what's going on at a deeper level in Fresno politics, because you occasionally get like some surface level stuff, but if you're interested in like digging into like what's quote unquote actually going on,
right, that's important.
Fresnoland and then Fresnolandia are great companions to that, and they allow you to kind of see at a policy level where Fresno's going, because there's a lot of moving parts, and sadly, there's some people in town that would rather you not know what's going on, so they can just keep doing what they're doing without a lot of community feedback on it. And so I would encourage people to be more engaged.
Isn't it interesting how many people don't know what's going on at all? And then they don't care. And isn't it interesting? They're just like, I don't even know. They can't name one council member.
And it's tough. Like, I understand, like, people are living their lives. You got kids and families and everything else going on. And then there's also a drive from our media to push us to like focus on national politics and less on local politics. And so
local politics are so important.
Yeah, but local politics affect you a lot more
than national.
I mean, Trump's going to affect everybody, but like your day to day, like you driving to work and going around construction sites,
kids going to school.
Yeah, the cost of your water and trash, whether they're going to raise taxes on you to pay for something like the Southeastern Development Area, like all of those things are going to have real consequences on your life. And the federal government definitely is involved in your life, but this is much more intimate, and you have a lot more control when it's at the local level.
Yeah, is that something that you guys try to really hit home on in the show?
Yeah. I mean,
but I feel like people that stumble upon are already interested in the first place.
That's true, and that's a good point. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of people that get really involved in local politics have some connection to it, and so they have some interest based on their work life or something like that. But we want to connect with people that those people that are just like, I want to know some things, but I'm not interested in learning all the numbers or diving into all the wonky stuff. And so we're working to try to be more engaging to all kinds of listeners, not just
great.
The nerds. Even though we are nerds, we want to be accessible for everybody.
So when does the new shows drop?
So Fresno's Best drops 2 or 3 times a month. taken a little hiatus. I went through a move recently, and so I've kind of taken a couple weeks off. But Fresnolandia drops every Tuesday morning at 6 a.m., so you can just kind of subscribe, and then that will just get dropped in your podcast box when you're on your way to work. Fresno's Best will be kind of all over the place. Same is true with History of California. It's just kind of just a couple times a month, probably once a week or twice a week at the most.
Well, that is awesome. I thank you so much for coming on your show.
Yeah.
You are so interesting. I definitely want to get on some of these podcasts. It's funny because I had listened to that one. I didn't even know. And so I was like, oh, yeah, that's a really good one. Because you just do so much stuff. And I think that's really cool.
I have a lot of energy. A lot.
At the library, what goes on at the library, though? You can only go there if you're a student?
Yeah, so it's a high school library. I'm in costumes. I'm reading books to kids.
Are you serious?
I'm running around.
But people from other schools can go there too, right? Or is it just us?
Well, occasionally we'll have some elementary kids come through, but it's mostly for the high school that's attached to the library. But yeah, I teach in classrooms periodically. I try to be as involved with the school.
You do it in costume? I love that. You should have came today in costume.
I should have. I literally have. I used to have a garage. I don't have a garage anymore. I have a storage room adjacent to my house, but I have, I think, 3 bins of costumes now, and I keep growing it every year. So my goal every year is to buy 2 or 3 costumes per year, and so I can accumulate like a full wardrobe of costumes.
Wow.
Because when you're around, I work at a high school. When you're around teenagers, they're so like they don't want to engage. They just are blasé. They're on their phones. They're kind of like jaded to school, and if I come out wearing a Christmas tree costume in December with like presents for shoes, that disrupts their like regular like
That's
rotation.
Very true. How can you take your eyes away? You're going to be like, oh my gosh.
And so occasionally I get a smile, and that's worth it all. Yeah.
I love this. Thank you so much for coming on. We love keeping up with you and what you're doing. And so next year, election year, that's going to be a busy year for the podcast. I can't wait to hear what you're going to have.
And it looks like there's going to be a lot of open seats. And so, I think we're going to have a lot of new faces, at least at the city council level. And so it'll be exciting and interesting for sure.
Have you thought of running?
No, I'm not. That's not my domain. I prefer to talk about that world, but not be in it, which, maybe is a foible of my own that I need to work on, but not at this point in my life.
I totally get it. Thank you so much for coming today.
Of course.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Well, tell our viewers who you are and what you do.
Well, my name is AJ Rassamni, and I'm the president of Blackstone Merchants Association since 2016. And I decided to run, or I am running for District 7 council member.
What a big job. What a big undertaking.
You know what? I never thought I'm going to run. I had so many people ask me in the past, you do so much for the community. Why don't you run for an office? No. I'm not in politics. I don't want to be involved in politics. I just want to do what's right for the people, for the community in Fresno. But then Nelson Esparza turned out, and he was the person I go to whenever I need something in the city. And he he assigned a code enforcer to work full-time with me on Blackstone too. So, and I figured, okay, if Nelson's not there, then I'm not going to have the support that I have, then I have no choice but to run. But I was never in politics. I never thought I'm going to be in politics.
And you made a lot of changes. I think that people don't know is how much you've done for the community, how much you've done on Blackstone. Can you want to share some of that?
Well, it started in 2016, and it started because I had my car wash on Blackstone in Dakota, and my car wash was being broken in about an average 10 times per month. And all the businesses around me, same issue, but a lot of them filed bankruptcy, a lot of them closed, a lot of them changed hands 3-4 times within a year. So the thing is, when there's a problem, we can complain or we can do something about it. So I decided to do something about it. So we started Blackstone Merchants Association. It's basically a business watch. We got to know each other. We started watching for each other. Then we got code enforcer to work with me full-time on Blackstone. And so he represents the city, and I follow his lead by knowing that we need to do it by the law, by what the city wants. But also I have my connections through the city that I can request certain things that he cannot. So together we create a good partnership. In 2016, like I said, we had 10 break-ins on average. Hotels in the area were all local residents, so it was also a problem. We had a nonprofit organization for mental illness. They used to service people daytime, then nighttime. They closed 5 o'clock, and all these people were everywhere in the area. So we had a lot of problems, and that's what caused the problem. So we created good neighbor policy for the nonprofit. We created good neighbor policy for the hotel. And by 2018, I moved all the fences, I moved all the gates from my business, and so did other people in the area because we had no more break-ins.
That is really impressive. How did that happen?
Again, it's working together as a business watch, creating good neighbor policy, everybody watching for the other. So basically that's what happened. But then when COVID hit, everything turned back, and even to worse. And I cannot blame the hotels, because the hotels have mortgages and they need to pay. So the city was giving them a lot of money to house homeless people and turn the hotel to a shelter. So after 2021, it became worse than what it was in the past.
Oh my goodness.
And we had to start one more time, creating a neighbor policy, the good neighbor policies. But the issue is somehow the city decided that Blackstone, which is the backbone of the city, we're going to turn into a shelter. So they bought a lot of hotels, a lot of other people bought hotels, and they turned into a shelter.
I think a lot of people don't know this, what's happening.
Yeah. So let me explain what a shelter is. Shelter is not housing. Shelter is temporary housing that somebody can be there for 1 day, can be there for 1 week, could be there for 1 month, 2 months, or 3 months. That's it. Then they have to let them go. But when they turned those hotels to shelters, they brought people from out of the area. They put them in our area. We have gang members, we have pimps, we have drug dealers. So I don't know who was in the hotel, but the thing, and I told that to the city, I said, look, when you're going to bring people from out of the area and put them here, you're going to bring in the entourage of people with them, we're going to follow them. And we had over 800 people on Blackstone that came to Blackstone, followed these people in the shelters. And that created a big problem. So when the city purchased Clarion Point, which is right next to 3 schools, within 1,000 feet from 3 schools. And they purchased it without going back to the residents and say, hey, we're going to purchase this over here. They just purchased it and brought people and put them there. So we said, I sent a letter to the city. I said, okay, now you purchased it. No problem. We have it over here. But let's put the right people in. Let's put our neighborhood homeless people instead of bringing people from the outside. Okay, and then I said I did a town hall meeting, and I called the mayor and a few council members. I said, we're going to have a town hall meeting, and we set the date. Within 2 weeks, we had 180 people attend.
Wow.
Okay, and the principal of Aspen, school in Aspen, they own 3 different schools. They have a school 1,000 feet from that hotel. She said, look, currently, We have 22% of our kids and their family are homeless. Let's put these people in the hotel. So it was an excellent town hall meeting. Nothing happened. Then within 30 days, I had 650 signature petition saying, let's put these people in a hotel, and then nothing happened. Okay, so we still have the same shelter for the same people that have been in it and the entourage around it. So what we did recently is I got another petition basically saying, we watched organization dropping people on Blackstone. So organization dropping people on Blackstone, telling them go wait on this private property, and then when we're going to serve you, we're going to go to that private property to serve you. So basically, they're telling them, trespass on this property, and then we're going to trespass on this property to serve you. So I met with that organization. I met with the HEART team, and I said, look, we need good neighborhood policy from you too, because that's what's creating the issue on Blackstone. I said, you cannot tell people to go to private property. You cannot serve people on private property. And your policy, the good neighborhood policy, should be that you should tell any homeless person, if you are on private property, we're not going to serve you. Does it make sense?
Right.
Be responsible. Obviously, we couldn't agree, so I sent the petition to the city and I sent it to the media.
And what happened with that?
For some reason, Blackstone is clean. I don't know why, but for some reason, Blackstone is clean today. I'm not going to say it's 80 to 90% cleaned up. Because I think I put it in the media, because normally I deal with the city. And I want to say I have a very good relation with the city. The HEART team, the mayor gave me a priority with the HEART team. Whenever there's something on Blackstone, they're going to help me.
That's good.
You know, so that's important. Like I said, Nelson Esparza, he has a dedicated code enforcer working with me on Blackstone, so that's very good. But what I'm saying is, the city works with the symptoms. So we come, we see somebody trespassing property, we're going to move them. But the question is, where do they go?
Right, exactly.
So because when I see homeless people on private property say, hey, you cannot be over here, the first question they ask me is, where do I go? So the city doesn't have an answer for that, and we need to find that solution. And I have the solution for it, which I've asked the city many times.
So where do they go?
Okay, that's the question. The city doesn't have that answer. So I've talked to homeless advocates. And basically, do you know, by the way, before I tell you, do you know that an average of 6 women, homeless women, get raped every night?
That doesn't surprise me. That's very sad.
Okay, so that's statistic they gave me. And they told me about 48% of the homeless are some kind of handicap too. Okay?
I've heard that.
Yeah, okay. So basically, those homeless people today, you cannot be homeless unless you're on drugs. You cannot. You cannot survive outside in the element unless you're on drugs. So either the drug addict or they're mentally ill. And by law in California, you cannot force anybody to a rehab. They need to ask for it.
Right.
Okay. So I said, let's have safe zones. Let's have safe zone for them. Every district can have a safe zone. You cannot be anywhere on my property on Blackstone or anywhere in Fresno. If you're in this district, this is your safe zone. You can go to that safe zone. The safe zone is going to be self-managed. It's going to have wraparound service. And for me, I say the methadone clinics should be part of it. Because if they take the methadone every day, eventually the edge is gone, then they're going to say, I need help. So, but that's a solution. But the way the city works, and I'm not attacking the city of Fresno, but the way government works as a whole is, if you go to your house and there's a flood, what do? The first thing you do is, did you get the bucket and throw the water out, or you find a source and you shut it? You find the source of the water, you shut it first.
The best option.
And then you take the water out. But the way the government works is we have the bucket. And that's why in the last many years, number of homeless people is going up. So California spent over $24 billion on homelessness the last few years. But yet, problems going up. We have 1/3 of the homeless people in the United States are in California.
That's very sad.
Fresno spent, I don't know, between $200 to $400 million. and we're not solving the problem. So what's the definition of insanity?
Doing the same thing over and over.
If you keep on doing the same thing over and over and expect different results. And this is what we're doing. So we need to change what we're doing if we want to get different results.
So the safe zone in each city that you're proposing, it would start with your district that you're running for?
Yes. So I proposed it to the city before. I said, get one safe zone,
right?
Mega safe zone. They said, no, nobody wants it in my backyard. Then I said, let's create 7. We have 7 districts. Each district has 1. No, we're not going to do that. Then I said, let's create a partnership between Fresno, Clovis, and the county. And then the cost will be split between all 3.
What they say?
No, I mean, no response on it. But basically because, to be honest, every politician, every person in office, we put politics before people. And I'm saying it's time to put people before politics. Let's do what's right.
So if you, get this seat, what do you plan to do? Do you plan to have your safe zone? And where would you put it? Whose backyard are you putting?
So let me tell you, that's very good. I've been walking and knocking at doors. And everybody in Fresno, at least my district, are fed up with politics, saying nothing happens. I only hear when person wants to vote, then I don't hear back from them. Okay, so people are fed up with politics. They're saying we need to come first. We don't want paying the taxes, and we need to get some services. The roads. A few weeks ago, I was driving, and there's what to call it, a sinkhole, and on the road, and my tire got slashed, and it cost me over $300 to fix.
Oh my God, where was this?
Yeah, I'm not going to say it. But the roads have to be fixed. The city said 3 years ago in the budget, that our roads would take $600,000 to fix. Today, 3 years later, they're saying $1.2 million. And when they're saying $1.2 million, it's most like $2.5 billion. $1.2 billion. It's going to be $2.5 billion, really. So 3 years from today, how much is it going to be? $5 billion, if we don't move and fix them. So we need to give priority to what needs to be done.
Well, and we do fix them. It takes forever. It'll be like under construction for like a year. I think that's a big problem too.
Yeah, but that's something we need to give priority. I mean, I'm walking and I see the walkway. It's like an A. It's like an A, and I've seen that it was fixed before, yet it just got worse. Why? Because the roots of the tree grew more and then they lifted it more. So why not, when we go fix it the first time, why not put root barrier so it doesn't happen again?
Right.
So we need to change the way that we work. What we need is a businessman that runs a small business and knows and gives a different perspective. Because you tell me, everybody in the office, how many of them held a real job?
You're right.
You need, from business perspective, we need to run Fresno.
And I like that you say a small business too. I think that's really important as well, that you add that.
You need to run Fresno as a small business. You need to come up with innovative ideas, test them. I say throw them over the wall. Once you create innovative ideas, test them, bring them back, improve them, test them back, and send them back. So we need to always come up with innovative ideas instead of just working with the symptoms. We need to find the cause, work on it, at the same time work with the symptoms. Otherwise, the water is running nonstop. So we need to shut the water first.
Well, so if you get the seat, where are we putting the homeless people?
We'll find a place. As a matter of fact, knocking at doors, I tell that out to everybody, and everybody said, yes, this is right. This is what we have to do. So we will find a place to put them. Do you want them to be all over Fresno, or you want to put them in a certain location? Self-managed, with wraparound service, with methadone, and that's the only solution, at least I know of. It's better than what we have today.
But then everyone's gonna say, I don't want to live right next to it. So where are you gonna put that? Have you figured that out?
You know what? When somebody gets elected, okay, politician gets elected, they normally get elected by 50.1% of the votes. If they got elected by 54% of votes, that's called a landslide. You don't need to get 70 and 80% approval before you do something. And this is where the politicians are stuck today. Oh, no, I cannot do this because I have certain group of people saying no. You don't have to satisfy everybody. You are elected to make decisions on their behalf, and you got elected by 50.1% of the votes. So they need to have the courage to say, I'm going to do what's right. I got elected to make decisions on your behalf.
Oh, that's very true. So where do we stand right now how Blackstone's moving? You said it got better. Worse, it was bad, worse, it got better.
It got better temporary, I say, because we don't have a solution. They've been moved. So when G Street got cleaned in the past, if you remember how G Street looked like Skid Row, where did these people go?
Where did they go?
You tell me. Okay? They stayed in Fresno. They moved from one place to the other. That's what happened. That's why Blackstone is what it is today. When they cleaned Parkway, what happened to these people?
Right.
Okay, they moved. And they're always going to move next to a place that you have market, you have water, you have food, because they need to survive. And Blackstone is a natural place for them to move.
Right. They're not going to be out in the country where there's nothing.
No, of course not. And that's why you need to put in place with the wraparound service that everything exists for them.
Right. Well, that's great. So that people are going to be like, well, how do we pay for this? Where are the taxpayers' money? So how do we, once we do their self-contained area, how do we pay for that?
Good question. We're paying for it today, and we're paying more than what we should. Why? Because today you have to have more police officers. You have the taxpayers paying for it. The city doesn't count that. For example, Jeb's Blueberry on Blackstone and Dakota. They moved to Clovis. Why they moved to Clovis? Because they were been breaking in on a regular basis. So they moved there now. Actually, the owner said she can sleep at night. Okay, so the business prosper more than here. So the guy, the owner, Major, tried to rent it out or sell it, and nobody wanted to rent or buy in that area because they called it a slum. What happened in 6 months? He has over $200,000 in damage. They got multiple fires inside. They stole his compressor from the AC, and you go look at it now, the whole front is burnt. So we can save a lot of money by creating a safe zone. Taxpayers save money. The city saves money because you don't have the police. You're going to save money on the police, on the calls. Let me give you another example. Do you know that homeless is 1% of the population of Fresno?
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yet between 40 to 50% of the fires are created by homeless. That's how you save money. You save money from calls. You save money for the police, for the fire. I'll give another example. If a property has, a shopping center has homeless people camping in it, and I go help them clean it. Within 30 days, they tell me the breakdown to our property, to our business, went down to 0. And our revenue went up 30, 40, 50% within 30 days, organically. That's how you save money. The city would generate more money by making the area safer. The business people, the investors, will hire more people to work, will have more business, will open maybe another business, and that's going to generate more money for the city. The city is going to save money by having less calls for service for police and the fire department.
No, I definitely believe it. So initially there might be, on the onset, it seems like we're spending a lot of money to create this safe haven, but as time goes on, we're actually saving. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, there's no money. You just have to find a piece of land and say, okay, this is your safe zone. So there's no money, just find a piece of land.
Well, we do have to pay for the safe zone.
Well, the safe zone is a property owned by the city or by the county.
Right.
Okay, and you say, okay, this is where you're going to be. So there's no cost for it. But the cost is going to be the saving of costs for the police, the fire, and the businesses that they pay most of the bill. And that money is not counted by the city.
Right.
I'll give you another example. There is Boston Market. It's on Blackstone and Dakota. Mm-hmm. So Boston Market closed, and the property owner leased it to a Chinese restaurant they're going to open. But he had to fix the inside. So every night, he fixed the outside, he put the lights, he put cameras. Next morning, they're stolen. He fixed the inside.
The cameras were stolen?
Yeah.
Wow.
They stripped also the wires from the lights. He fixed the inside. During the day, he has crew fixing the inside. At 5 o'clock, they board it up, they secure it, they come next morning, it's vandalized inside. How do you expect somebody to fix a place if that the problem is from the outside coming to the inside? Yet what the city does, they blame the business people, the victims, they criminalize the victims, say it's your responsibility. Why is this homeless person on your property? Who's responsible for that? Who's paying taxes for who? We're paying taxes for them to provide the security for us. So the perspective is wrong. We cannot blame the business people. We need to take responsibility and say, we need to take care of this issue. By taking care of this issue, Fresno's going to prosper. We have people, the kids cannot walk to school because of the shelter next to the school within 1,000 feet. And you have people hanging outside. How would they allow their kids to walk to school in front of gang members and drug dealers?
Right.
Whose responsibility is that?
That's crazy. It's crazy that's happening. That's, wow. So when you come in, you're going to help the homeless situation. What else are you going to do for us?
Okay, so we have, and I'm not trying to criticize the city because I have a lot of friends, but the city always brags that they rolled the red carpet. And I talked recently at the city hall. I said, yes, but that red carpet, from my experience in the last 10 years, is full of Velcro. When somebody steps on it, it gets stuck for 2.5 years. So we need to change the way we approve permits. I'll give you another example. I have somebody bought a building for $2 million 2 years ago. $2 million. He's paying the mortgage on $2 million. He still doesn't have all the permits to build. So how do you expect that person to last? We need to change the process to make it a lot faster, more friendly. Go to Lancaster, for example. Lancaster, within 30 days, you get your permits. So why are we not the same?
Why are we the same? What are some of the reasons that you've seen? Why we're not
so
the same?
I was at the council member a month ago, maybe, almost. So there was, what to call it, planning department. Mm-hmm. They wanted to pass a ministerial that it's for office dwelling, for example.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, any office building, we can turn it to residential. We can build dwelling on top of it.
Okay.
And they wanted to have the power to approve those. And the city council majority 4-3 said no, because you're going to take the power away from us and give it to your employees. We hire you to do the work. How are you going to take that power away from us? But the question is, you hired those people because they're expert at what they do. So they have the power on top, but the knowledge is here on the bottom. Okay? So if you want something to happen, you need to bring the power to the bottom, to the people who have the knowledge for them to make that decision. So if you look at Tesla, you look at Facebook, they have one-level management. So any person have the power to make a decision. If you walk, is this not your department, you walk in a different department, you see a problem, you identify a problem, it's your responsibility to fix it. So the city is saying, no, we're going to have the power, even though you have the knowledge, everything has to come through us. But politicians are affected by what? The aspiration for the next office, the NIMBYism, and the special interest. So you shouldn't be making the decision. You hired these people to make the right decision. So the planning department, they look at Fresno as a game board, like a monopoly. When you create a rule, a policy is going to apply to everybody. Mm-hmm. And so they are not affected by any political ambition, any special interest. They should be given the power to process things a lot faster. But the city council member, they still can have the power to call any project and say, hey, we need to question it. But give them the power, what you hired them for, to do what they're supposed to do. Don't hold them back. So that's one of the things I'll be doing too. So did you know that in Fresno, we only build 26% of the housing we need every year? I
have heard of that. That's right. We're in a crisis.
Yeah. So let's remove the red tape. Let's remove the Velcro. Give the power to the people that can make that decision.
Well, I agree with you. That sounds really good. No, this is really good. So you seem to have a lot of really good, solid plans about what you want to do.
You know, like I said, from 2016, I started Black Merchant Association. I put my own time and my own money to do what I do. And people ask me why you do it. But that's the purpose of my life. That's what I wake up every morning to serve others. So I suffered a lot in 2016. I lost millions of dollars because of the situation. Like I said, people around me lost their life savings, lost their business. So I don't want that to happen to other people. So that's why I said, if I'm not going to do it and step forward, who's going to do it? If not me, who?
Right.
And now, again, the opportunity is to become a council member, to have more power, to do more instead of asking for it. And I want to turn District 7 to the example that the city has no choice but to follow.
Well, yeah, that would be a big thing if this all goes well with the safe area and all of that. That would definitely make a lot of changes.
It's going to be people before politics. I mean, you look at me, I have no political ambition. I'm already too old. I'm 61 years old. So
you're not too old.
61 years old. So I'm not going to be working until I'm 80 or 90. So this is all what I want to do. Council member, 4 years or 8 years, and that's it, I'm out. So for me, there's no special interest going to affect my future.
Right.
So that doesn't exist. But I need to do what's right for the people.
No, I think that's a great solid plan. I'm glad you have all these like visions too, and you kind of know because you already dealt with this for like the past decade.
Yes. So the difference between me and the other two running is they're in politics since they were 18 years old. That's all they did in politics. And for me, I don't say I promise. I say I've already been doing it. It's a proven result. I'm already doing all this for you. For example, I have a nonprofit called Success from Within, and I give scholarship for the kids. Elementary kids. I did it at Del Mar this year. So at the end of the year, we got the result, the iReady result. And we had in reading, we have a system how we run it. So we motivate the kids before we give them the reward, the scholarship. We give 6 per class. One for the best in reading, best in math, most improved in reading, most improved in math, most improved behavior, most improved attendance. So we give 6 per class, 20 classes every month. We do it half a year only because we compare before and after. So we start January. So February we give for January, and we do it for 6 months. We give that. So I got the results. This year we had an iReady for reading 300%, up to 300% improvement in the class. We have another, in iReady for math, we had 500% improvement. That's within 6 months. And the cost is $4,000 per year, which is less than $10 per student per year. That's a result.
That's a
because
result.
The future of Fresno depends on education.
How long have you been doing this with the scholarships?
Well, look, I came to the United States in 1985, to LA in 1987. And then in 1994, I got involved in a nonprofit in LA called Mid-Valley Jeopardy Foundation, working with the kids. And always my goal is giving back to the kids. So this is the first year we did that the whole year. I've done it in the past, just end of the year and give scholarship. But this time we did it every month. And before we give the scholarship, we have speakers. And the speakers, the team of them, when they speak, we have 3 to 6 speakers every time.
Wow.
It's the team for them to speak and motivate the kids is success comes from within. The environment doesn't matter, it's you. And the only person competing with is yourself. So if you want to change from here. That's where it comes from. So we have that then, and that's really, it's what I call the wind. So the wind is an invisible force. So when you see it, it's called the Wind and Wave Scholarship. So the wind is an invisible force. So when you see the waves and see the velocity of the waves, say, oh, wow, but you don't realize that the wind is what caused it. So when we talk to them, motivate them, that success comes from within. If it is to be, it is up to me. And then when they get the scholarship, we have a line of people give them high fives.
I love that.
Okay? And I have pictures where people hug me. And they want to go, so I call that transformation. And then the wave is the result, which is 300% to 500%.
I love this, AJ. Where can we follow you and see what you're doing and where your speaking engagements are? Do you have social media?
Yeah, so it's AJ for City Council on Facebook, AJ for City Council Instagram too, AJ for City Council on X, and the website's AJ for City Council. It's very easy.
Thank you so much for coming on the show today. I think it's great, and I love how you have all these solid plans.
And successfulwithin.org.
And remember that, so if someone wants to help a scholarship, they can do that.
Yeah, and I really need money because the goal is to expand to 10 schools this year, and it's $4,000 per school.
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh I must confess dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time we were playing pretend.
It's a mystery.